It's Miss Brenda that had gave them.
It came on.
Yeah,
The
Miss
little-
Brenda started me with the ribbons.
Will you hand me my water so I can make my stomach stop talking?
I think that's just gonna make it worse.
The water,
Now it's gonna be gurgling.
he's gonna say, where was my last meal?
She's gonna hear the video. It's like,
It's,
oh,
it's
what's
when
that
it's
noise?
white.
Yes, and then the demons in my stomach are talking. Okay, today's June 25th. All right. So we are here with Maria Antoinette Pierre, Curtis Joseph Pierre, Rosemary Pierre, and Dina Nancy Foret. We are in Houma, Louisiana, and today is June 25th, 2002. Thank you so much for being here. Can you please each tell us your name?
My name is Dina Nancy Foret, and I'm from Dulac.
I'm Rosemary Pierre from Dulac, Grand Carrier.
Maria Antoinette Pierre from Grand Caille.
Curtis Joseph Pierre from Grand Caille.
So there is a really special person that has influenced all of your lives in many ways. Can you tell us a little bit about her, her name, where she was born and lived, and the work that she taught you?
This is our grandmother, Marie Dean,
He has a picture of her too.
yeah.
Aww.
And that's me with her. I've learned doing the palmetto with her at a young age, maybe 10, 11 years old. And she only spoke French. And we didn't have a choice but to learn French. If we wanted to talk to her, we had to learn how to speak French. I'm the oldest out the granddaughters from Grand Caille. She had other grandkids, but they stayed like in Houma and Golden Meadow, so they wasn't really around. So I'm the oldest, the granddaughters from Grand Caille. So I have a little more than Maria. And Aunt Rose, well, of course, she have a lot about her.
Yeah, my mama worked at the shrimp factory. And before she'd leave, she'd get up early in the morning, and she always had a braid so she could start working on her hats or fans or whatever she was going to be making, her baskets. And before she'd go to work, she would get up early, get dressed to go to work, and then start working on her things. And every morning that she would go to work, she'd do the same thing. Make her coffee, get ready, and start working on her hats or whatever she was making. And she enjoyed doing it. You know, she didn't just say, well, I'm going to work on that, put it on the side, and go work on it next week, like I usually do.
When she would start something,
Yeah.
she wanted to make sure that it was done.
Yeah.
She didn't like nobody waiting on, if they ordered something, she didn't like them waiting on their stuff. She wanted it done, yeah. And we would braid a lot. She would strip the palmetto for us.
Yep.
And I would braid it for her. That way it gave her a chance to
Just so.
sew on it. You know, she didn't have to stop and split it and braid it. Her braid was already ready for her. So it made it easier for her and a lot quicker.
Do y'all know how she got started and how it was passed down?
Her mama made the hats. And that's how she learned how to do it, with just making the hat. Because she had brothers and sisters, but she was the only one that caught on to it, to making the hats. Yeah.
And did she, she was just doing it for herself and for
Yeah.
the community?
Yeah.
And can you share with us a memory from what she would share with you about when she was growing up and what it was like? She was from Dulac or from Grand Caillou?
She was from Dulac,
Dulac.
From Dulac.
Lower Dulac.
Yeah, can you share a little bit about what maybe she shared with you about what Lower Dulac was when she was a young person?
Well, she would go crabbing, and they would work on what kind of nets it was.
The
That-
cast nets.
The cast nets.
The cast nets.
They would work on that because they were such a big family. So she'd say, well, this one would work till 12 o'clock. Then they'd get up, and the other one would work on. And they sold it, the nets that they made. Her daddy would sell it. And that's how they made their living. And her daddy always had a big garden because they had a lot of them. They had nine siblings. So
Wow. And Lower Dulac, what is it like today?
oh, it's all eaten up where they lived at. It's way, it's all eroded and all. So
And do y'all know when she was born and when she transitioned?
September 19th,
1916.
yep.
1916, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And
She-
she passed what?
And she was 94.
She had just turned 94. Yeah,
Yep.
we made her a birthday party, being she was turning 94. We made her a birthday party at the Dulac Community Center, and
That was a big
4
deal.
days later she passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how old were all of you when you started learning how to do the braids?
I was 16.
Okay.
Like I said, I was a little young, about 11, 12 when I started with her.
Oh, me too. Because I got hurt on the boat at 15, and I had been going to the Acadiana festivals and Jazz Fest with her, just weaving. And she would always fuss me. She'd come, she'd like split the braids. She'd split 4 or 5 braids for me, and I'd start weaving. And in no time, like he's weaving, in no time I'd have some done. She's like, okay, you gotta stop, go walk around, go look at stuff. And I'm like, why, Mom? Because she said, before you know it, you're gonna be done. And then I'm gonna have to split some more. Like she couldn't keep, like I was going so fast that she couldn't keep up with weaving, with sewing. So she's like, you go walk around and look, and I'm gonna split you some more. By the time you come back, I'm gonna have you some more. So sure enough, by the time I came back, the amount that I had weaved for her, she had it back, and then I look at it. And then she's like, don't start yet. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us what splitting is and where the materials come from and how you how you work with them from harvest to full
Yeah.
product?
Well, splitting is a palmetto. It's the green. It looks like a big old green fan on side of the road, like where the water's at. But in that palmetto, they have what we call is a heart in the middle, and that's the part that we use. We don't use the big fan that's open because that's like no good for us. But in the middle, they have like a heart. We call it a heart, and it's all closed up, and it's green. So they cut that for us, and we split it open like she's
this.
doing here, and we let it sit, and it gets yellow because it's green when you open it up.
So you split it green.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
You
because
do-
it's like 2 pieces together, and we gotta split
You
it.
open up
You
the
open it
leaves
up.
like this.
It's always found in the middle. Usually when the palms grow out, the big
See?
fans is always right in the dead center.
Yeah, because he's cut some.
It's so hard. Inside is hard. We use a machete to get through to cut the big palms down, and usually we just cut in an angle not to damage the heart.
That's what I was picking at him. That him and my dad goes, and they'll go look for some palmetto hearts to cut so that we can keep, weaving to make stuff. And I tell him, I said, he doesn't do like my grandmother do. My grandmother would go and she'd bring an oyster sack so she could put the palmetto in to bring in the front. And one day she goes in the back, and I'm like, Mom, what you got in your sack? You got a snake? Look, the sack's moving. And she starts laughing, and I said, what's the matter? I said, that's not funny. Look, you got a snake. She's there, no. And I'm like, well, what's in it? She tells me it's some turtles. I said, what you mean turtles? She had picked up some turtles in the wild. That was for her supper, she said. But every now and then she'll go and she'll find a turtle or two, you know, so she'll pick it up and she'll bring it up because she'd eat that. So she'd pick up the turtles if she found them, you know, she'd pick them up. But it had scared me because all of a sudden the sack started moving, not knowing she had her turtles in the sack with her. But they've never come back home with no turtle.
Try to come home with that.
And how old were you, Curtis, when you first started?
Boy, I started going with y'all to LumCon.
Yeah,
No, even before that, because I used to help you with ribbons sometimes.
about maybe about 11, 12, you too.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
11 and 12.
It's like a rite of passage, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he asked me one day. He's like, "Mama, how you do the ribbon?" And because I started with the oh, how was the name of it?
The big one or the one that has like the grids on it?
Well, I like doing these when I do the ribbon for Native American graduation to the tribal.
These are beautiful.
Yeah, and I do it with the school colors though. Like each school has their own colors.
Mm-hmm.
So for graduation, they each get a ribbon to represent their school that they can wear on their graduation gown. And so he asked me one year to show him how to do it. And I said, okay, it's hard though because it's not like palmetto where you can actually start it off and it'll stay. I have to tape it down at the end, and then once I weave it, I go back and I hot glue it down. And he's like, okay, but I showed him, and then he caught on. He's like, it looks hard at first, but once you get it used to, but with the ridges in it, it's easier. If it's just the satin ribbon, it tends to slide. But once he has gotten used to it, he can do it. So if ever something happens that I can't do it one year, he can pick it up, and he'll, just as long as he remembers the colors of the school, he'll be able to pick it up and he'll be able to continue it. So that way he'll be able to, you know, keep the tradition that I started with the ribbon. He'll be able to pass it on. But Miss Brenda Robichaud one year asked me, because there was nothing to represent the Native kids at graduation, and she was one of the ones that asked me for the tribe school, you know, look, can you, you know, the title program, can you do the ribbons for me? She said, I have ribbons, and at that time it was actually the tribal colors. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. So she sent it to me, and I said, how many kids do you think we have? And she told me a number, and then I started weaving, you know, the ribbon, and then I brought them, and then now we went to the school colors. So now each school has their own color. And then I'll go and I'll ask the kids, can you please wear it? Because it's not just in honor of me you wearing it, it's actually in honor of my grandmother. And so they'll wear it at graduation. So that way, you know, the tradition keeps going, you know, even at graduation.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that way, yep.
Wow.
And we laugh all the time. I pick at Curtis all the time for that. That my grandmother always had a thing. If you wanted to try something new, she'd always tell you, oh yeah, you're starting something new. Because I had asked her one time. We sitting at jazz, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I wonder if we can weave, you know, we weave palmetto, but I wonder if there's other things we can weave. And so I asked her one day, Mama, you think we can weave ribbon? She said, oh, I don't know. Oh, you want to start something, she said. And I said, yeah, why not? And so I did one day in front of her. I said, look how pretty it looks. She said, oh, yeah, that's pretty. And so she said, you see, she said, you started something. And then when he wanted to try his hat, I told him that. I said, you know what? I said, Mom's passed, but pray to her and she'll tell you how you make it. And he's like, okay. And so when he tried, and she'd always tell you, my mama too. Like my mama tried something and she's like, oh look, and she was still living there. And she's like, yeah, but you didn't do it like this. Do it like this and you're gonna do it. So I told him the same thing. She's gone, but listen to her. She'll tell you what you need to do to make it the way you want it. So his first attempt, he made this. And I said, okay, but it's all right, because it looks like a basket. That's fine. Keep trying. And he said the whole time he was trying to make it, he could hear somebody, like telling him, you got to loosen it up. You got to loosen it up. And I said, that's my mom. You listen to her? No. Then take it apart. Sit calm. Take everything off, radio or TV, whichever you got on. Take it all off. Say, okay, mama, I'm listening. Come back and tell me what I need to do to get it the way I want it. I said, you have it in your mind how you want it. Now you come let me know how can I do it to where the way I want to make it. And so he came out with his hat. And that's his version of the hat like she makes out of palmetto. Wow. So it's like, and like I told him, you just have to listen to her. She's going to come to you and let you know how to help you, but you have to listen. And he kept telling me like he could hear somebody talking, but he wasn't listening to her. And she was trying to help him. So that, and that's what I told him. If you want her to tell you how to do something, you just have to listen to her. She's still there with us, because we can tell. Every now and then, like right before we started, you could see a butterfly. And it's like, we knew that's her, because we every now and then we'll see a butterfly. And it's like, that's her. That's her telling us everything's going to be okay, you know? Because
First powwow, you remember?
Yep.
Butterflies outside, and then when we played the rain dance, it started pouring down rain.
Wow. Yeah. Grandmothers, they stay with you all the time.
Oh yeah.
Y'all are so lucky to have been able to
Have it that long.
have her that long and
Yeah.
to be with her.
Yeah.
And for her to share
Pass
so
it on,
much.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. And she would always say, "I'm ready. I'm ready." Like, you ready to go where? And like, why you want to go? You don't know how it is over there, or did somebody tell you? Because if somebody told you, you need to tell us. Me and Dina would tell her all the time. It's like, wait, somebody told you how it was? You need to tell us how it is then. You know, because we want to know. And she's like, no, nobody ever told me. Well, then why you so ready to go? And like, I know me and Dina and even my mama and Curtis, it's like, when we knew the storm was coming and how bad the storm is, it's like, oh my God, you know, my grandmother's house is an older house, and my uncle's living in it, and it's like, man, I don't know what kind of devastation we're gonna go back to for her house, because my uncle's staying in it, his wife's staying in it, she has cancer, and it's like, we gotta go see. You know, we know what our house looks like. Dina knew what hers looked like, so it's like, we gotta go ride. My mom's like, no, I can't go. So it's like, okay, so me and him hopped in the car, we go. My uncle's there, and we're like, okay, well, what's wrong with the house? He said, just my side room's uncovered. And I'm like, what? It's like, okay, you got a tarp? He said, yeah, well, we got the string. We're gonna cover it for you. And it's like, well, golly, and we looking around, there's no water. This is the first storm ever. My grandmother's house did not have water in it. If she
mud.
she would have been
Oh,
surprised
mud, yeah.
that she didn't get no mud and no water in her house.
Mm.
Because all the other storms, like one year, what it was, Rita.
Yeah.
We go to our house, it took 2 weeks for us to get there. Because they had so much water in the street, we couldn't get to our house. And then once we got to our house, it was to get to the house and then get the mud out. They were in another room, I was in her room, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get this bed out of here. You're looking at the bed, it didn't look like nothing was wrong with it. And it's like, okay, I dumped the bed over, and all you hear was gushing of water. And she's in another room. She's like, what's that? And I'm like, well, Mom, it's water. She said, well, where'd it come out of? I said, your mattress. And I mean, passed it out of her room, out the front door, threw it in the yard. It's not good anymore. Then I'm taking her box spring out too, and she's like, where you going with my box spring? Mama, it's not good. But it got a spring in it. I'm like, it's not like that no more. I had to actually bust it open to show her.
Yeah.
They don't make them like the spring mattresses no more. It's just wood. But she thought it was a spring mattress because she actually had that old time spring mattress, and my uncle still has it. Because after that storm, we put it on her porch and we spray painted it, you know, because she still had that old time spring mattress. But she would have been shocked to know her house, come back to her house for the first time ever, no mud, no water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And
The
that-
locks worked.
Yeah.
The locks did their job.
Wow. But also the wind was so strong.
That's what
from
they say.
Hurricane
Yeah.
Ida.
We
Yeah.
had damage.
And that's an older house. Like her house sat between a house on each side that their roofs were completely gone. And her house is over 50-something years old.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, that little house was it was just her watching over it for my uncle them to have a place to come back to. Because other than that, there's nothing else there to save that little house. As old as that little house was. Because it's like, oh my God. It's like, I told my uncle, don't worry about it. They're going to get on the ladder, they're going to cover you that little side room for you. And it's like, but oh my God. It's just, I mean, it's bad. And it's still bad.
Yeah. How did all of y'all fare for the storm? And how do storms disrupt your work? And do you take your material, do you take your work with you when you evacuate, or is that something that you guys talk about during those times? And is it something that your grandmother thought about, like, or maybe she was a person who didn't evacuate?
Oh, yeah, she came with us.
She would.
Yeah.
would come with us.
I know some people
Yes,
are
she
like,
would go with my aunt.
Yeah, she'd come with us.
Yeah.
Right now, one thing that's slowing us down is the fact that our backyard, we can't really get to the back where we need to go for the palmetto.
Yeah.
So that's slowing kind of.
Because of the
It's
trees.
damaged
Because
a
of the
lot of
trees,
the
so-
palmettos, yeah.
To get to the ones in the back of our house, we have to jump over the trees to get to the back. So it's only me who I can really go get them.
And so you're harvesting palmettos from your own properties, or
Yeah.
do you go to
Mhm.
other?
Yeah.
So it's your own land that you have. Palmetto.
The Palmetto, yeah.
And the palmettos are doing okay with all of the storms too?
It messed up a lot of it. Yeah, it messed up a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the wind was just so strong that it just knocked them down, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen I mean, you're saying about Lower Dulac being very different than, you know,
Yeah.
years ago. Probably not too many years ago too.
Yeah.
But could you just talk a little bit about the changes you've seen in your life and the way of life, but also the environment and the land and the water too, of course. That's always part of it.
I know the water for a couple years now doesn't go down like it used to. Like the water stays high. Like for some reason the tide's always high. And it wasn't like that before. Like I don't know why. Like my grandmother died and she never had an air conditioner. Like never had an air conditioner. So, and I don't know if she could handle the heat that we have now, if she'd still be living. Because it's way hotter than what it was been. And it's just, I mean, the erosion is so bad. And the storms every year look like it gets worse and worse every year. I mean, we've been where we at for at least 30 years. And this is the worst storm that we've been hit by. Like we came back and we had a hole on each side of the house. We had a hole in the front and a hole in the back. And we're still not back in our house. And we're 10 months from the storm. And we're still not back in. So it's rough. Things are changing. And I don't know why it's as bad as it is. But
yeah. What about you, Curtis? Do you have I mean, you're the young elder. But do you see? I mean, yeah. Do you?
From like a short time, like seeing everything down the bay, it's changed a lot. Like there used to be fishing places where my grandpa used to go that we can't even stand on the land anymore. Or we used to get water for our pet fish that we used to have. That place is totally gone. It looks like the land's just disappearing as we talk sometimes.
And how old are you?
19.
Oh wow, I thought you were older. I mean, and with the hat skills too, it was like okay, 11 to 19. Wow, yeah. Do you have any other comments about the changes that you've seen or you, Miss Rosemary?
Like they say, just the land, you're seeing more water and the land just getting eaten up. It's like every day you look, it's a different area that's getting eaten up, And it wasn't like that at one point in time, But now we're just gonna be a big old bayou one day, And it looked like it's getting sooner than what we think.
And when you all evacuate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you always evacuated, Miss Rosemary, or you?
Yes.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where do you go, and do you take your work with you?
I bring it sometimes when we leave.
Yeah.
I bring my palmetto so I can work on work on my braids. I just throw it in the back of the car or truck and bring it with us.
Yeah.
And then when we get there, then I got something I can work on at the motel or wherever.
yeah.
Is that where you normally go to? You book a hotel somewhere?
Yeah.
Now it's
yeah.
hotels because
At first we
back
would go to
growing
school.
up, I remember us leaving for a storm. It was always a shelter that was
Yeah.
open. It was
Like a
we had to go
school.
a shelter.
The boat.
And
A boat?
Yeah.
We would go in the boat.
And
I
and
like
now
going in the boat.
that we older, it's a hotel. Because really shelters. There's really no place to go anymore.
And how far do you normally go?
It usually depends on the severity of the storm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we went all the way to
'Cause we went to Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yep.
Hot Spring.
Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Hot Springs, Arkansas.
And then I remember, which one that we went to Alabama for?
Gustav and I. We took
Gustav
off
and
to
I.
Alabama.
Yeah.
So you were saying that I mean you're all working with traditional materials, but using them in new ways too. Your hat.
My hat, my koozie, my little, well, was gonna be a hat, but now it's a purse.
Or a bowl.
I just, whatever comes to mind, I just try to make it. And I get different ideas every now and then. Like, also have a helmet that I made. And my next thing I really kind of want to make is was it the arm wrap I told you? Or
Oh,
what?
she,
how you call it?
oh, I forgot how you call it. Arm sleeve.
Arm sleeve.
Nice.
It's just whatever pops to mind.
Yeah.
We'll let him do the new things, and we'll just
Stick with the
stick
old.
with the traditional,
Yeah,
the
can you
fan,
Yeah,
the,
the fan.
the
That's
basket.
the fan my mama had made.
A fan.
That's-
My mom made this one
Yeah.
that our grandmother made.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You see, I put it in my bag. I'm gonna have to put it where it's gonna.
Where
I
it's
put
gonna
it in
stay
my
flat.
bag and it stays that.
Yeah.
Make it go back flat.
How old is that piece?
Oh,
Probably,
must be.
probably 30 maybe, probably
Yeah.
30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the old one.
But it makes no sense.
'Cause you
Might have been
see-
one of her first ones, maybe. Cause you made them a little wider.
We all need one of those
Yeah.
these days.
She would sell a lot of these at Jazz because it was so hot, and that's what they was looking for,
Oh yeah.
fans.
Mhm.
Cause then she was the section that made the fans.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
When did she start going to the Jazz Fest? Do y'all know that story?
Let's see, I was maybe 10 my first year going with her in Roy Parfait, and she had maybe gone like a few years before that. And then it got, because she only spoke French, and we needed somebody to speak English, translate, so I would go with her. I started going with her. We would go to Jazz Fest. We went to State Capitol. We went to Natchitoches. Yeah, yeah, that's where I went with her.
Wow.
To
You ever went to
translate.
Lafayette
Went to Lafayette a couple of times, yes.
and Marshville?
I didn't go to Marksville.
Marksville, no, I never went to Marksville with her, no.
Maybe T-Ross.
T-Ross.
I went to Marshville
Yeah,
with her.
yeah.
That's the only place I went.
Okay.
Was to Marshville. I never went to the jazz festival with her.
Yeah, that's what's
Why
awesome.
you?
I don't know. Maybe because I was on the shrimp boat. But
So, the Jazz Fest.
Yeah.
You know me?
But Jazz Fest,
I
she
was
would go
probably
every
doing
year.
something else, and so because
At the
when,
beginning.
but when Maria went, then we was working on the boat,
Yeah.
getting the boat ready for the next shrimp season. So I never went to the jazz festival.
You don't want to go to the Jazz Fest.
Do y'all do Jazz Festival?
No, they don't.
No.
No, I went one year volunteer in the food stand with them, but never, that was my first year going back since I went with her. Yeah.
And it's just not no interest to be there. No.
I want to check out. I want to just go to Jazz Festival again. I just want to see
Yeah,
it.
nobody
Really?
really, we thought maybe, to me, I think, would think, oh, well, this is Miss Marie's granddaughter. Maybe she have stuff that Miss Marie taught her how to do, maybe I always thought they would have asked, me to go, but no, nobody really asked to go to buy baskets or moss dolls that we
Oh,
make. We make the moss dolls, and that was one of her things too that she made, was not like this.
She's in
She
the
made
book.
the little ones.
Yeah.
She made the ones with the dress. I think we have a picture of the dress. One with her dress.
Hey, try that one, dude.
That's one with her. Oh yeah, look right here. With her moss dress.
yeah. Oh,
Palmetto
and the
dress.
palmetto dress.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
What? Tell us about what is a moss doll and how do you make it and.
A moss doll is it's gray in the trees. You probably see it hanging. It's hanging gray out the trees. So the moss is a little different than the palmetto. Much more work than the palmetto. The moss, we got to take it out the trees, and we got to let it sit for
Wet it?
about for it to get black. We don't dye it. People think we dye it, but we don't dye it. It's a natural black. And in order for it to get black, it takes about I want to say a year to a year and a half for it to get black. And right now, like it wouldn't even get black because we don't have no rain. Rainwater helps it a lot. Cause she never put it on side the body. Maybe when she was younger, she put it on the bias side, you know, for it to get wet and stuff, and just let it sit to get black. But me growing up watching her, she had a piece of tin out in the yard, and that's where her moss was. And every afternoon she would take the hose pipe and wet her moss, and
Turn it around.
turn it around.
That's it.
Once one side was wet, then she would turn it to get the other side wet. And we would do that. But when we had rain, we didn't have to do that because it got wet. So, but without the rain, we would get the hose pipe and wet it so it could start getting black. Yeah. And then once it got black, then we had to take it and clean it because the ants and the wasps and all the bugs like the moss, and they would sit in there. And so we had to get there, and we put it in a bucket full of water, and we'd clean it a couple of times. And once we did that, then we had to spread it out and get the sticks and the leaves and all the little ant mud piles that was in it and stuff. So once that was done, then we would wet it again. Once we had all the trash out, we'd wet it again and clean it a little more. But I mean, it didn't matter how much you clean it, they always still had a little bit trash in the moss. Yeah, and then once it was clean enough to where for us to work it, then we'd make moss dolls. But my grandmother, she would say that was their beds. They made mattresses out of moss. That's what they slept on.
What's
Yeah.
the old thing?
And every morning they had to get up and take their stick and make their bed out of moss.
Wow.
She made, I remember she had an order for a skirt. She made a skirt out of moss.
Yeah.
She made a purse out of moss.
And she made some slippers.
And slippers, yeah, out of moss.
Wow.
Yeah? She had
Yeah.
made the slippers, remember?
Yeah, we had to send that in the mail. Yeah, we had to ship that in the mail.
Wow.
We had to send it in the mail.
So we put it in a box.
The skirt too.
Was
Yeah,
that
the skirt.
her idea, or somebody came to her and said?
Somebody asked her if she could,
If she could
she
make
thought
it.
she could make it. So she sat on the floor. I said, Mama, you think you can make that? She said, oh yeah, I can make that. So she worked the moss and she made the skirt. Then he was going to get married. The one that wanted the skirt had sent her a letter saying he was going to get married. Oh, she said, I'm going to make him some slippers. She made him some slippers. And so we sent it in the mail.
But that's unusual, huh?
Yeah.
That's a really
Yeah.
unusual thing.
Yeah.
Are y'all working with moss?
We
Yes,
do the moss
we do the
doll.
moss doll.
But I haven't tried the skirt.
The skirt, yeah, we never tried a skirt or a purse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I know how to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, like now,
Yeah.
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 All natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's called a tree.
Make a skirt for when Sarah get married.
When Sarah get married, yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other materials from the nature that y'all use besides the palmetto and the moss?
No, that's all that I use. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're curious.
Yeah, now you got me wondering what it is.
You can make your.
Yeah.
Would you, and probably as individuals, I'm sure there might be different answers, but do you consider the work that you're doing to be spiritual? And did you think that your grandmother and your mother, great grandmother, thought of it as a spiritual practice as well?
She really never really ever said anything, you know, spiritual or anything, you
No.
know. But like Maria said, you hear her tell, you know, like I know me, I had my bottom to start a basket, and I was just sitting there and started my basket, and you know, because you look at your work as you're going along, and it's like that I could hear that's not the way you do it. You're doing that wrong. You need to start over. And it's like, okay, you start looking like, okay, where I'm going wrong at, you know, and it's like, okay, and that's not the right way. That's not the right way. So you just got to undo it and start all over again, and there it is.
Dina even
So
learned how to split a palmetto.
She's around, yeah.
Usually
yeah.
she'd split my palmetto.
Yeah.
Split my palmetto.
Yeah.
Don't you got some palmetto? You can split
Yeah.
my palmetto.
Yeah.
Even CJ, he's there. Mama, you're going to have to show me how to do it. Split your palmetto. Yeah, because I'm not going to be here all the time.
Which one?
Great grandma.
I split the palmetto?
Yes.
Did your mom make you split the palmetto, or
Oh, no, she'd split all her palmetto her own self. And I'd braid.
you were the braider?
I would braid all the time. I don't, sometime I'd come back from trolling, I'd have her braid this big. Cool, she said, it took you a long time to do that. Oh, no. 3 days I had all of that done. And I was still waiting for some more.
Yeah.
Cut me more, I said, for next time, cut me more. Then she'd have 3 bunch. Oh, this is going to do, she said, for the whole week. I said, oh, yeah, that's going to do for the whole week.
Yeah.
And was she a person that was always working?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's kind of y'all too, huh?
Yeah.
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 Y'all kind of look like.
It's like the braid. I mean, she would just sit there, and she would have her palmetto on the floor, and she would just grab and
Watch
strip.
me and the rest of
Yeah.
The TV was on, and like I said, everything was in English on the TV.
But she
But
had to have the
had
TV
that
on.
TV on so she can, and she wasn't looking at the TV. She was looking at the TV and just braiding. She was going to town, and that's how I am. I just, you know where it goes, and it's like you're going to town.
The night she died, she was working on a hat,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
and he had threaded the needle for her.
I had
They had gone over there and he had threaded the needle.
I had what a drum practice with
Yeah.
one of my
Yeah.
old friends, Alex,
Yeah.
and my grandpa said, "Let's go see your grandma before we go to before you go to your practice." I said, "All right." So we went over there. We sat down, and she said, "You mind helping me get this ribbon through the needle?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So when we went, I put it through, and then she said, "I'm gonna finish it tomorrow." And my grandpa looked at each other. He said, "That's weird for her to say that." All right. Then. So we said, "Well, we gotta head to the practice." She said, "All right, well, bye. See y'all later." And she said it in French. My grandpa looked at me, and she never says bye. She always says, "Bawat fala,"
Mm-hmm.
meaning "I'll see you later." And when we got back home after practice, we got a call from I think it was Roz
Yeah.
saying, "Call your mom and grandma."
Yeah, 'cause y'all was at
We went
Yeah,
into
y'all
a
was
school
somewhere.
board meeting.
Yeah, it was, and I was at the center as well, 'cause I have my daughter that dance, and we was doing regalia and shawls, and early I had walked over there and went tell her I'll bring you the pictures tomorrow of the birthday party to come and show you, And she said, okay, I'm gonna be waiting. And I went back to the center, and my son called me and told me to come to go to her house. Something was wrong. Yeah.
It's really interesting, the passing of the needle to you, Curtis,
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
Are there other young people who y'all are passing the traditions down to?
No, no.
Are you guys
Nope.
kind of like
We're
the crew?
yeah. Yeah. Because I have two. I have a son and a daughter, and well, my daughter dance, but as far as palmetto and stuff, no, she don't.
No.
My son makes the bottoms for me to do my
Basket.
my baskets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's about it. He don't braid or play with the moss or anything.
Or maybe later on.
Yeah,
He's
maybe
gonna-
later on.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any other opportunities that you see out there for young people to connect with this kind of practice? I mean, you know, not in your personal, or, you know, sharing of it, but are there other people or other places where young people can experience and learn about palmetto or moss doll making, or?
Yeah, we do the Native American month in November. We go to the school, all of us, well except little man, but us three, we go to the schools, different schools, and we have a presentation to show what we do. Yeah, and just Friday I was in Bayou Lafourche at the school over there showing.
But it was last month we came over here.
Yeah, last month we came over here and we
On
did.
the Saturday.
They
Yeah,
did.
we
Yeah,
had
they was teaching. We taught them how to braid
Braid and beadwork and stuff.
and the beadwork. You know.
Yeah.
You know, some of them want to catch it on, but
Yeah.
then they start that day, and then they don't do it
They
back
don't do
again.
it back, yeah. And that's something my grandmother did. She went to, with Miss
Yeah.
Brenda Roby's show, she went to a lot of camps with Miss Brenda during the summer.
She taught
And,
at the school
taught
too.
the schools. And her too, she would say the same thing. The kids didn't want to, they didn't want to learn. They didn't want to learn. they didn't want to,
They say,
they didn't
"Oh."
want to learn. Yeah, she would say that. You can tell the one that's really interested in it and the ones that's not.
Do you think that there's anything that could be done to help support exposing kids more? Like, is there something that the tribe could do, or the state or the federal government even?
I think maybe more gatherings, or like us. We're the only one that does. Maybe more interest in Miss Janie does it as well. Maybe more presentations. Maybe put it out there that they still have people that do stuff like that. And if you want to learn,
So there's that being an educational piece, but in regards to making a living off of this work, is that something that you've been able to do, that y'all have been able to do in your life?
No.
It's mostly been
For sure. And
Like now, when I do something, it's mostly I give it away.
Yeah.
yeah, because she would make baskets and fans for my teachers every teacher appreciation week.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
teacher appreciation.
Yeah.
I'd make them a basket.
And if they had kids, she would make either a hat, a fan, or a basket
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah, there's, I've never really had anybody ask, oh, can I get a basket or a moss doll or, nothing like that.
Are y'all interested in that? Is that something that interests you, if there was a,
Yeah, if there was somebody that was looking for stuff like that, yeah, sure.
or a market?
Yeah. Yeah.
You look like you're retired.
We will tag her along. She needs to be
like
with
my
us. Yeah, she needs to be with us.
You can
Yeah.
split the palmetto.
3
Yeah.
bundles and
Yeah,
then
but she only braids.
Yeah, I
She don't sew.
Oh, who's the sewer?
I sew. She did
Not
not,
so.
but she
Yeah,
don't sew.
Braider.
Yeah. And I'm on my own. So I do it all.
Hey, I will for you for one.
Yeah, she will use me. She will.
She don't even
spool, huh?
split
Oh,
the
yeah.
palmetto. She only braids.
And then I tell her all the time. I said, "Oh, but I don't like how you split." She said,
She
"What
said,
you mean?" I said, "My grandma would split that. She'd have all the ones for 4 in a bundle, all the ones for 7 in a bundle. You
You see-
split it. You put all that together.
You see,
gotta
like this
divide it
one,
up."
she would
I
say,
don't
me,
like that.
me look, that
Look,
one's
yeah, see?
small. That one, yeah, that's not braid. And
braid,
you're
yeah.
gonna see, it's gonna come
It's
out.
gonna come out, yeah.
It's me that's gotta sew, it don't matter.
I tell all the time, look, Mama wouldn't have that like that. She'd have that separate.
Yeah.
She said, "Boy, you there?" Well, it's true. Mama would have all that separate. Mama would
Braid,
have the little ones
I
and the
see.
big ones together.
Cut your own.
That's what she said. Cut you on. That's probably what my grandma would tell her though.
Yeah.
Cut your own.
How do you think that this work that y'all are doing helps to share Houma culture?
I don't know.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not something that's always thought about so much.
Right.
No.
I think.
I just like the time to spend with my family, honestly.
Yeah.
It's nice. We all get together. We do what we love, and we just have fun.
Yeah. That's real. It's not about money.
Mm-mm.
It's not
Other
about
than about the
fame or any of that. It's about doing the work.
Mhm.
I think I loved how you started by saying that she enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she did. She did.
did.
That was her pastime.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was there a time when she hit that rock star status that maybe where she was just doing the work and then suddenly people took notice of her? Do you remember there being a shift of suddenly there was a recognition of the, do you think she would consider herself an artist, and do y'all consider yourselves artists?
I don't think she really took that as an artist. No, I don't think so. She was never
And I don't know if she ever realized how.
Famous you.
how
How
famous
well
she
known
was.
she
Yeah,
was.
I don't think she
No.
really.
Even going to Washington.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
went to
think she
Washington.
realized.
And if she did, she never
Like,
said anything.
She
about
never.
it.
No.
Right. She
'Cause
never.
she always look at it just as you want something. I'll make it for
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because her big seller was Roy Parfait. She had something done. If it wasn't an order she had, and she made stuff, you couldn't get it. That was Roy's piece.
Yeah.
Roy, that was for Roy Parfait.
Roy asked for that one.
Roy asked for that, so that's for Roy. You couldn't get Roy's piece. Oh no.
Yeah, we met with Mr. Roy,
Mhm.
and he was talking about starting the co-op
Mhm.
at the Dulac Community
Yeah.
Center.
Yeah. I remember the co-op. I remember that.
Yeah, can y'all share a little bit about what you remember about the co-op, and do you think that a model like the co-op would be something that would be beneficial today?
I think it would. I think it would. And the word would get out there, I mean, I don't know if they still have I think maybe the only one that I can remember and my aunt remember was Jim Bob.
Yeah.
A Jim Bob that we had down at the center. That was a big one that I really think he's the one that brought my grandmother out there for her stuff that she did. Yeah.
So having advocates or having people who can promote the work and share it is an important.
An important part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jim Bob, she took Jim Bob as one of her own sons.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She wasn't hard to please, I tell you that.
She liked it, Jim, because Jim would come into the back room, back of the house, and he'd go straight to the pot. No matter what she had cooked, potato stew or whatever, he would get a plate and eat. And that's one thing she liked it. Oh yeah, he would made himself at home. Often we talk about that when he was.
Potato stew sounds really
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sound good, huh?
We talk a lot
But
about
yeah.
who would go over my grandma and eat all the time.
You couldn't
Me
leave her
and
house
Dina
hungry.
And drink coffee, especially
yeah,
if you
she
liked
had
it,
that.
coffee.
And for Washington, she's got stuff in Washington
At the
and
Smithsonian.
Smithsonian, and her going to Washington, she had just had what it was, 2 days, 3 days. She had just had a major surgery, gallbladder surgery,
She had colon surgery.
colon surgery, yes.
When she
And
went.
but she was scheduled to go to Washington with Roy, and she went to Washington. She had this big cut. She went to Washington D.C. Yes.
I was at the Smithsonian in
Yes.
2012, and we were there for something, and they wanted to meet with us because they were like, "Oh, we don't know much about Houma people."
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, "Well, what do you know?" And they said, "Well, we have this moss doll from Miss Marie Dean." It was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, she's like one of the few pieces
Mm-hmm.
that's representing Houma in
Yeah.
a museum or in the
Mhm.
American Indian Museum."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
The
went.
one she's
She
in the
went.
Smithsonian, so that's the one where it travels.
That's the
Yeah.
one that we tried to catch.
'Cause we
the time
went.
we went to over there, they wouldn't
Yeah.
let us.
Because we went to D.C. and she said, "Oh, you gotta go where they make the money." I said, "Where they make the money?" She said, "Yeah, when we went," she said, "I went and we could see where they made the money." She said, "You need to go see."
Mm-hmm.
And what was it?
The man in the big chair.
The man in the big chair. She kept telling me, I had to go see the man in the big chair. So when we got back from D.C., I told my mom we went to see the man in the big chair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and she loved that picture of the man in the big chair.
Yeah,
liked
'cause we
it,
took
yeah.
our picture in front of the man in the big chair.
Yeah.
But I asked them because when we went, we asked because we wanted to see, and it wasn't in Washington; it was in Denver, because it traveled. So her piece was, but they were shocked, like, because I'm like, okay, I'm looking for my grandmother's piece, and they said what? And I said, yeah, she has a piece that we know is in the Smithsonian, and they're like, so they hurried up and they looked for it. They're like, oh, we're sorry to tell you, but it's in Denver, Colorado right now. And it's like, it's okay, it's okay. We just wanted to know. And it's like, all right. And it's like, it felt good to know that it was somewhere, you know. It wasn't where we were at the time, but it was somewhere. So it just felt good, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, CJ is not here, but we know it's in Denver. So it felt good. It felt real good.
Her
I
work.
want to see it one day though.
We need to go see if we can
We
find.
need
We
to
need to
see it.
search it before we go back.
Right
to make
down
sure.
here.
Well, she does have some in the Wildlife Museum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she has.
Yeah.
She has pieces there too.
Are there other places where y'all's pieces or her pieces are exhibited here in Louisiana or anywhere else that you know of?
No.
South Down.
I think
South
Down.
Down. Yeah, maybe
How about
so.
in New Orleans when we went at?
But they had.
I think so. I think they got a moss
Where we went?
doll of hers in one of the museums in New Orleans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Historic collection.
Historic New Orleans collection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we went.
Yeah, 'cause they had access to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fun. I have like, there's all these things, I wanna go down all these side roads and talk about all kinds of things. Okay, just checking myself here, make sure I've asked the most important questions. Do y'all go to powwows at all, or was that part of her life too, or?
She would go to the powwow.
When they went in Grand Bois, but I don't think she ever went to the one
For,
on the air base.
yeah, no, I don't think Grand Bois, 'cause Miss Brenda Robichaud would get her involved in that one there.
Mhm.
Yeah, but as far as here at the air base, I don't think she ever made one of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just checking. Okay, so I kind of asked this before about the education, but are there any suggestions of how the tribe could help to support, you know, y'all's work, but also other tribal people who are working in carving or basket weaving um, or any of the other traditional skills? Is there something that you think that the tribe could help to support?
I think so. I think they need to get more involved, you know, because I mean, there's still some of us that make stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't want to lose it.
Right.
Because, like, for us, for instance, Curtis is the only one that picked it up that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's not going to quit doing it because he likes to do it.
I'm having too much fun with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that, you know, he finds relaxing when he needs to, you know, it's like a kind of like I say he's my grandmother all over. And I say that because when he starts something, he doesn't want to stop till he finishes it. And I'm like that too, though. Because my grandmother was like that. If she started something, especially if it was something different she was making, she's not going to stop till she finished this, because she wanted to see what it was going to look like when it was finished.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like that. Because he called me and he said, oh, the hat's coming out like I want. And I'm like, you see the clock, right? And you got school tomorrow. So you better get further along with it or stop and start back tomorrow. Because I know how, and I said, you know how you are, Mama Dean. And then he laughed and laughed. And I said, okay, so you need to pace yourself or stop and start back tomorrow. Because if not, he'd stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing he had to go to school, you know, the next day at 8 o'clock. But that's us though. There's something that we want to do, but we need to time ourselves too. Start early so we know we have enough time to finish it.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but because that's like he wants a regalia vest, and I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I can make it. It ain't gonna take me that long. And he's like, you sure? Oh yeah, it ain't gonna take that long. And if I set my mind that I'm gonna sit there and just do that, it ain't gonna take me long. But if I start, okay, I'm gonna cut it, then I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do that, it's gonna take me all day. But if I just sit there and just work on that, then that's different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told him. When you're gonna sit there and do something else that you have in mindset you want to do, just work on that. Have your braid ready, so you can just sit there and do what you want to do. Because if you don't, you're gonna be playing around all day long, trying, you know, all kind of stuff. But that's how my grandmother was.
Mm-hmm.
If she had a mindset, if that's what she wanted to do, or if there was something different she wanted to try, she tried it, but she had to see it finished.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you know, then she could go to sleep, then she'd sleep. But if she didn't finish it, she wouldn't sleep. And I know how that feels, because I'm like that too. Like if I'm like, oh, well, I could finish it. You know, I'll get up early, I'll finish it tomorrow. I'm not going to sleep. I might as well finish it, because I ain't going to finish it. Because I did that when I made him a regalia shirt. I'm like, oh, I started it late. I'll just leave it alone. I'll finish it tomorrow. And it was like midnight. I'm like, you know what? I better finish it, because if I don't, I ain't going to sleep good. And then I'm going to be up all night long anyway. So I'll wind up finishing it. It took me maybe another half an hour to finish it, and I was done. And I'm like, all I got to do is put ribbon on it, and I'm done with it tomorrow. That I could do. But to put it together, that's the main thing I wanted done that night before going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it. But I guess that's the good habit we took from her, is if we start something, we like to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. And so every now and then I'll pick at him. Or he'll do something I'll notice, and he'll remind me of my grandmother, and I'll start laughing. He's like, what's the matter? And I say, oh boy, you just remind me of your grandmother right there. And then he'll like, okay, which one? Man, your grandma Dean though.
What about the state or the federal government? Is there anything that, you know, you could recommend to them so that these traditions could stay alive and keep going? And I think especially, you know, that question, and also thinking about how we're up against so many storms. Like you said, the water doesn't go down anymore, land's disappearing. You know, and in thinking about the next generations and what they might need. I mean, the education of the passing down of the tradition, but also the environmental challenges that we have here. Is there anything that you might recommend to the government?
Hunt, you got something?
Mm.
Ms. Janie, what do you think?
Well, I was thinking of a question a while ago, for y'all. Do you think that it's harder right here in our backyard to do things like this? Do we get promotion from other people, like with the parish, or some of the museums here, or is it easier outside of this parish? I know you mentioned, Jim Ball, was he from here?
No.
No, no. It looked like it's more out, more
Mm-hmm.
more out.
I found
out
that myself because it's like it's not accepted as an art form, maybe,
Right.
Or not appreciated as an art form by a local people.
Our local,
Yeah.
right.
And I regard y'all family as the keeper of arts and crafts, palmetto weaving and everything. And it's so important. And I think myself that working with the state and the tribe, that maybe we could get funding to keep this alive, because it is endangered of
Yep.
dying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
How
it
many
is.
people make moss dolls?
Right.
It's just a handful.
We only got a few
Yeah.
generations left, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's important that if we could get, even federal monies, state monies, to do workshops to pass this
To pass
on,
it on.
especially with our people now migrating back to the north.
Yeah.
We need to pass this on to them. And then the question is, where are they moving? Will they have palmetto? Or
Right.
will
Or
they
where
come
they-
back home to, visit family
Yeah.
and harvest palmetto, at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think, Curtis? You're the next generation. What is your kind of, yeah, I mean, you're a young person, but what do you think would be helpful for you, right now? And you're kind of, you're doing the traditional, but you're pushing it to another level. Is there something that you think that would be helpful for other young people like you to get in, to be interested, or to be connected? I mean, you're so lucky that you have all these amazing women in your life. But yeah, just curious if you have any next generation suggestions.
I mean, the only thing I could really see is that we show people more, like have more, when y'all go see people, like
Presentation.
a couple more presentations. But I mean, there's not too much we can really do, because mainly it's a self motivation. You can't just get into doing, like, it's if you want to do it. Pushing the culture would need to just show it off more. See if we can get people interested in it. I mean, I got interested because I watched my mom all the time do it, and I thought, yeah, maybe I can take that and make it new. Maybe try something different out of it. Show that it's not just basket weaving, fan making. It's whatever you want it to be. The culture is not what it just normal stuff. It's what you make it. I'm a weaver, and I make what I want out of it. As long as I get the title, man, that's it. And it's also brought me closer with all these amazing, like you said, amazing women in my life.
Thank you. I keep getting really emotional for this interview. I don't know. I haven't often like this one. All right. Well, we could keep talking.
That's
for a
just
long time,
Momo's
I
coming
think.
through.
That's okay. That's okay.
Just Momo's coming through. She said she just want her work to be out there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys might like to say? I mean, this is a record that will be going down in history. The Library of Congress, is this big archive. And, yeah, is there any last words or anything that you'd like to say about your work? And just to back up, there was one question I was thinking about that I wanted to ask. Is that how did you make a living? If you know, the palmetto basket weaving or the arts that you guys are working in, but what was the primary way that you made a living for yourselves through your life?
Like career.
I'm a housewife,
Yeah, me too.
In troll.
and I went trolling, but that was years ago.
Yeah. I've just
That
been a
was what,
housewife.
20 maybe
Yeah.
26 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not just, that's a big job.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That was a big job.
Yeah.
So trolling, you miss trolling?
Not now, no. And a little odd boat we had it. We had a big boat, then we had to sell the big boat, then we had an odd boat. And I told my husband, I said, we too old for this. We had to go launch that boat, go trolling, come back. It was hot. I said, oh no, we're getting too
y'all not crazy.
old for this. And sometimes we'd go by Mom and she'd say, what y'all was doing, man? We went trolling. Y'all not crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she was funny. I tell you, she was funny.
And you have,
It was fun though.
yeah, trolling.
I tell CJ now, I say, cool dog, if you would have been born when we had the big boat, you would have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the odd boat.
Scared, yeah.
We'd bring him,
Oh, yeah,
we'd
she
bring
would've
him
been scared.
trolling with us, and I'd hold his shirt so he wouldn't fall in the water.
We go fishing, and every single time we catch a fish, oh no, sit down, CJ.
Just sit down, sit down.
Take it out.
Interesting. Most of the time when she said that, your grandma see y'all not crazy, I mean, you go on the boat with them. That's how I told that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would tell me that if I bring him to school and it was cold, she's like, where you coming from? Well, I just brought CJ to school. You're not crazy. When it was cold, you don't need to be going to school.
You just got off of work earlier today, I heard.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of world are you working in for?
I'm an auto mechanic.
He just finished school.
Yeah, just finished college and
Yeah.
got hired on by, I can say the name.
So far.
Got hired by Foret Motor Company.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
And congratulations. Congratulations on your amazing hat.
Then he was working on that hat at my brother's house.
Yep.
Yeah.
My brother can't read nothing. He couldn't do that work.
Does he know how to do?
Uh-uh.
No, he doesn't know how to make a braid.
He knows how to make a map, though.
He
The-
do
the
have
little
the mat
maintenance
like
Yeah.
this. He can do that.
Yeah, he can make that.
But to braid like he's
Just
doing,
have one uncle that knows how to braid.
yeah.
He would every now and again make cause where he lived, he had palmetto that would grow, so he would go and cut it, and he would let it dry, and he would make a braid for my grandmother.
Your daddy never weaved neither?
Mm-mm, no.
You see, now
Just
Uncle Russ
Uncle
told me
Joe.
that. Uncle Russ said that none of the
Wow.
boys wanted to
Mm-mm,
weave except
no.
for Uncle Joe. And
Just Uncle Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Joe picked it up for a little bit, and he said he didn't like it after a while.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't much of it wasn't a big braid, but it was
No.
a little braid, and it was a little smaller braid.
Yeah,
then
he would.
It was way smaller than what we made.
But he made
And,
a purse.
But he made a purse one time. Yeah. But he was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that we had with this, after I made it, we had a lot of offers on the hat.
Yeah.
I would get stopped at I got stopped at a place I went to go eat at with one of my friends, and I had a guy come walk up to me and he said, "Hey, you made that down on the top of your dashboard?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How much would you sell it for?" I said, "It ain't for sale." He said, "I'll give you $150 for it." No, and that's my first hat. I can't sell it. Got stopped again at a Walmart parking lot. Guy wanted to give me $400 for it. Still didn't want to give it.
No, my grandma would always say you don't sell the first one you made. You keep it for you. Because that's your first. So
I mean,
The
the
girl-
money's gonna go.
She
I mean,
probably
this hat's
fussed.
forever.
She probably fussed that you know you would get 400 for it. but-
Yeah. 30 years from now, somebody's gonna be holding that
Yeah.
hat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so now, any last words that you guys might like to share?
We thank y'all for letting us show our work that we do, and let's hope we can get recognized where we can do more presentations and we can show, others,
Yeah.
I mean, we need that,
Great. Anybody else?
No, I just say it's part of our family. We can't do anything without Palmetto. We just us, but this brought us all together.
Yeah.
This is
Yep.
our own. This is our only connection with Mama.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of our connections with Mama.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy I can keep this up with y'all.
Mhm.
I'm ready to join with y'all anytime you want.
Hopefully we can keep finding it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Now, when you have kids, you're gonna have to show them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much. It's been really great. And, I'm just real super honored to know all of you, and I hope that we get to spend more time together soon.
Yes. We thank y'all for getting us involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.